When my sister got engaged, my parents threw her a lavish dinner. When I got engaged, my mom said, "We'll celebrate when it's official if it ever is." So I kept it private. 2 weeks later, they saw the wedding photos. In a magazine interview about the venue, they could never afford it. My name is Ethan. I am 32 years old. For most of my life, I have been the dependable one in my family, the responsible child, the one who paid his own college tuition while working 3 part-time jobs. The one who never asked for help, never demanded attention, never caused trouble. I thought that being reliable meant I would be valued. I was wrong. My sister Jessica is 28. She has always been the center of our parents' universe. When she graduated college, they threw her a party at a country club. When I graduated, they sent a car with $50 inside and a note that said, "Proud of you. Keep it up." When she bought her first car, they co-signed the loan and helped with the down payment. When I bought mine, I paid cash after saving for 2 years. My father's only comment was, "About time you got something reliable." I learned early that my accomplishments were footnotes in the story of Jessica's life. I stopped expecting applause. I stopped waiting for them to notice. I built my career in commercial real estate quietly and built it well. By 30, I was managing acquisitions for a firm that handled high-end properties across 3 states. I made good money. I lived modestly. I kept my head down. Jessica worked in marketing for a local boutique. She changed jobs every 18 months, always complaining about her bosses, her coworkers, the commute. My parents would nod sympathetically and assure her she deserved better. When I once mentioned a difficult negotiation at work, my mother said, "Well, that's what you signed up for, isn't it?" I had stopped going to family dinners regularly by 29. It was easier that way. Less disappointment, less silence when I spoke, less watching Jessica light up the room while I sat in the corner like furniture. But I still showed up for birthdays, for holidays, for the big moments, because that's what family does. Or so I thought. 3 months ago, Jessica got engaged. Her boyfriend Aaron proposed at a winery during a weekend trip my parents had paid for. She called me the next day, breathless with excitement, and I congratulated her. I meant it. 2 days later, my mother called and told me they were throwing Jessica an engagement dinner at the Waterford, an upscale restaurant downtown with white tablecloths and a prix-fixe menu that cost more per person than most people spend on groceries in a week. "It's going to be a beautiful night," my mother said. "Jessica deserves to be celebrated." I said I would be there. I bought a gift. I wore a suit. I showed up on time. The dinner was everything my mother promised. Flowers on every table, champagne. A slideshow of Jessica's childhood. My father gave a toast about how proud he was, how Aaron was lucky to marry such a wonderful woman. People clapped. Jessica cried. My mother beamed. I sat near the back with cousins I barely knew. No one toasted me. No one asked how I was doing. When Jessica hugged me at the end of the night, she whispered, "Thank you for coming." And I nodded because what else could I say? I drove home replaying my father's words. I always knew Jessica would find someone who saw how special she was. The sentence sat heavy in my chest. Not because it was cruel, but because it was absent of me. 3 weeks later, I got engaged. Her name was Julia. She was kind, sharp, warm, the kind of woman who saw the best in everyone. I proposed quietly, at the botanical gardens where we had our first date. She said yes before I finished the question. We decided to tell our families the following weekend. Julia's parents cried with joy. They opened a bottle of wine, hugged me, welcomed me in. My parents? When I told them, my mother said, "We'll celebrate when it's official. If it ever is." Julia's hand tightened around mine under the table. The words hit like stones. That night, she turned to me and said, "We don't need them there." I hesitated. Then I said, "Okay." And just like that, the plan formed. Quietly, we planned the wedding ourselves. Small, elegant, intentional. 50 guests. People who actually cared. The venue was a private manor called Ashford Estate. Glass conservatory, rose gardens, chandeliers. Expensive, yes, but worth every penny. My parents knew nothing. Not the date, not the place, not that it was happening. When the day came, it was perfect. Blue skies. Warm air. Julia looked radiant. We exchanged vows under the glass dome. Sunlight spilling over us like blessing. For the first time in my life, I felt seen. We danced, we laughed. We built a moment no one could take from us. 2 weeks later, our photographer told us a magazine wanted to feature our wedding. Lux Venue magazine. They were doing a spread on Ashford Estate, and ours had been selected. The issue came out a week later. 6 glossy pages of us smiling, the conservatory glowing, the caption reading, "For this couple it was worth every penny to create a day that reflected their love and vision. The venue starts at $50,000 per event." 2 hours after it hit shelves, my phone rang. My mother. Then Jessica. Then my father. I ignored them all. They found out through the magazine. A day later, my mother showed up at my door. Pale, trembling. "How could you do this?" she said. "We're your family. You told me you'd celebrate when it was official," I said. "If it ever was." "Well, it's official." She started to cry. "We thought you understood." Jessica needed more support. "You've always been fine on your own." "That's not support," I said. "That's favoritism." I closed the door. A week later, Jessica called. She asked to meet at the cafe. She looked smaller, quieter. "I read the article," she said. "It looked beautiful. I wish I could have been there." "You weren't invited," I said. "I know," she said. "And I get it. I'm sorry." She confessed she'd always known. She saw how they treated me but said nothing because being the favorite felt too good. It was the first time she ever admitted it. I didn't forgive her, not completely. But I told her I appreciated her honesty. That night, I wrote my parents a letter. I told them I wasn't angry anymore, just done waiting for them to see me. 3 months later, Julia and I bought a house, a little cottage with a porch and a garden. One morning, while planting flowers, I got a text from Jessica. "I saw you bought a house. Congratulations." "I mean it." I stared at it for a while, then replied, "Thank you." It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't reconciliation. It was peace, finally, quietly mine. For the first time, I wasn't living to be noticed, that I was living to be free.